Nintendo has hit us with another stealth update for Mario Kart World, and it's another one that's pretty darn major, like pretty darn substantial. And I'll spare you the boring summary. We all know what's up with this game now. It launched and it was lacking a lot of features, and people thought the quote unquote intermission tracks, they didn't like them. They didn't like that they show up in online. Nintendo kind of pushed back and tried to make them even more of a thing. But now it seems that Nintendo, really it's really part of a much bigger discussion, how Nintendo is handling this game and the whole, the original vision of the game versus what fans want, and how at first it seemed like they were kind of putting their foot down and being like, no, we're not going to budge. But now they kind of are. Now they kind of are slowly turning the game into something a bit more like the kind of Mario Kart that we're looking for. And we've seen some other pretty major updates. Obviously, they finally patched in the ability to track all of the collectibles. So that was a really big deal. And now, this is huge. This is really, I never, ever would have expected something like this. They are actually changing some of those intermission tracks, changing them outright, making them different, making them more exciting, rather than just going in and tooling how often these have to be done. The probabilities of players being able to do a traditional 3-lap race, forcing it or making it a little bit more optional. That was always going to be something of a tug of war. What I did not expect was for Nintendo to just change the tracks themselves. As you can see here, someone on Reddit has helpfully put together some little mini-map comparisons. And you can see that, pretty much each of these tracks has just a little bit more stuff going on. At least one little area where there's just more, more turns. And people are pointing out, it is really surprising what a good turn it can do. So much of the problem really was just that there weren't enough turns. So we have a lot more turns, but then apparently I'm hearing that a lot of these tracks, the changes are a lot more substantial than they even look on the mini-map, because they've also just added stuff to the tracks. They've added other obstacles and boost pads and things like that. So if anything, this little comparison is underselling it. And I still need to dig into this and explore it all myself, and possibly talk about this in a much bigger video. I really do feel like there's a lot to say about Mario Kart World and how Nintendo has been handling it and updating it. It's really just interesting. But it sounds like they're not necessarily making these changes permanent in every mode. If you're doing just regular free roam, it sounds like it's all going to be pretty normal. These changes occur when you're doing an online race or doing a versus race or something. Which is weird, which is interesting. I'm definitely happy that they're not making these permanent changes to the entire map. Because honestly, when I am just in free roam, I do like the in-between stuff. I like how you've got your more tracky tracks, and then you've got the bigger just open areas that are not it's good. It really does work well when you're not in the context of a competitive race. These in-betweens, they are nice. But it's also just kind of weird. If the tracks are only different during certain modes, then are you gonna give us the ability to choose or something? It's weird, and it almost makes me wish that they had thought of this in the first place, having alternate versions of the in-between tracks. Or because now I'm imagining in free roam, what if there's special P switches that will change it for you? Or you hit the thing and then it pops up. Maybe that's even a new set of P switches, the course goes from being all plain and flat, and then boom, you can see it. Oh, now there's ramps and all this stuff, and you got to get to the end within the time limit. Or just turning it on and off, or even just in the options. Can you give us the ability to just kind of toggle the more interesting track design on and off? But then that's the sort of thing that would have made a lot more sense if they had designed the game that way from the beginning. That would have been great. But they didn't see this problem coming, so now they're kind of trying to fix it. They're trying to band-aid up this whole thing, and it's awkward. It is very awkward. I'm happy for this, but it is still just very strange how they've been handling it. And the kind of bad news is that this is not being done to every single one of these in-between tracks. In fact, it looks like most of these changes have been made to tracks that are over water. So like, yeah, you can see like the list of like of which tracks they're doing, and it's all like most of them are tracks connected to Koopa Troopa Beach. You know, like a good half of them are just like, or more than half of them, it's this place to Koopa Troopa Beach. It's Koopa Troopa Beach to this place. So yeah, like they've really focused on stuff over the water, and the idea is probably that it was easier to change those. You know, they didn't have to like dig into the very level geometry and completely rework these areas, because stuff over the water, it was already bridges and things that are a lot easier to move around. So we don't know if that's just them like, okay, well, these were the ones that were the easiest to change, and so that's why we did them first, but we're going to change more later. Or is it like, all right, we will grudgingly change a few of these, but just the ones that are easy, just the ones over the water. Like, we really don't know if they're going to come back with even more changes. Are they finally recognizing that this is a really big problem? And like, they're like, no, we want to do right. We want to make the whole entire thing right. We do not know. And like, what's new? You know, like this has been the saga, like ever since this game came out in June, you know, nearly half a year of just wondering what Nintendo even thinks about this game, wondering what they think of the player backlash. How much of it are they taking seriously? How much are they just being like, oh, well, who cares? It's still going to sell. We don't know. We really don't know how far they're going to take it, but hey, they're still doing it. You know, like this is proof that they're still doing it. They're still totally dropping the ball on like real content updates and like events and stuff. Like, okay, you gave us this big world. Where's like the events, the stuff to do in it? But again, that's part of such a big conversation about how Nintendo is being really weird with this game and dropping the ball in so many weird and surprising ways. So it really is just kind of like, we gotta wait and see, because like they have been doing it. They could have just abandoned the game completely, been like, who cares? People will buy it anyway. But they seem to be taking a lot of these complaints seriously, even if originally it seemed like they weren't and were even pushing back against them. Now they are, and you know, there's a lot of other quality of life updates that are kind of sneaking in too. We're slowly getting more options when you're playing online, little things like, oh yeah, now you can finally customize what items you get. So that should have just been an absolute basic option from day one, and now you can. Okay, better late than never. Weird that you didn't at first, but like, okay, we have that now. I mean, really the best news there, like obviously it's great to be able to customize your items when you're playing with your friends, but like now the best part is you can only have the Kamek items, so you can finally, it's going to be a lot easier to unlock all of the characters now. Thank goodness. That's good. Yeah, other stuff in there, other stuff with like the soundtrack. Now you can see like what the name of the song that's playing and stuff. So that's good. Yeah, it's just they're still doing it, which is good. It's not cool how bare bones the game was on day one, but it is cool that they are updating it, and I'm very curious to see how they will continue to update it, especially this track thing. No, I never would have guessed. I really never would have guessed. I thought if they were going to keep making changes, it was just going to be to the probabilities or to like the options or something. Like I would have thought that they would say, we did it, we changed the probabilities, we made 3 laps come up more often, and that's the best that you're going to get. I would not have been surprised if they had just ended it right there and moved on to something else. You know, probably other like content and stuff for the game. I didn't think they would do this, though. I did not think that they would have gone in and changed the in-between tracks themselves. I think that's wild. I really am very, very surprised that they did that. But yeah, I'm eager when I get a chance. I don't know when I'll get a chance. There's so much Metroid coming out tomorrow. When I get a chance, though, I would like to go in and see the changes. And yeah, I don't know what this video would look like, but I There's so much to say about Mario Kart World and how Nintendo has handled it. It's so strange. It's so strange.